Welcome into another edition of the Beantown Blitz podcast. I'm Frank, joined with Mac and special guest from the Swing of Things sports blog, Austin Bumpus. Thanks for joining us.
How's it going, guys?
We have a special giveaway announcement at the conclusion of this podcast, but first, let's talk about the preseason one opening win for the Patriots, 34-22 over the Saints at home. First preseason game. You kind of get a feel for the team. I know, Brady was excused. It wasn't even at the game. But Jimmy Garoppolo got his first start. Wasn't very flashy. I don't think anybody on the offensive end, quarterback in particular, was flashy. Although, great on the defense. 22 points allowed, 4 turnovers, a couple touchdowns. What do you expect from the Patriots going forward? Week 2 against Chicago preseason, and probably long-term Week 1 against the Cardinals to open the season. To you, Mac.
Yeah, the defense is, going into the game last night, everybody was focused on quarterback, Jimmy G. But coming out of it, it was all defense. Right off the bat, I think it was the second series of the game, right after Drew Brees came out. Patrick Chung with a phenomenal hit on the tight end, bounces right into the hands of Jamie Collins. He's gone for the touchdown. Later in the game, Trey Flowers, who's a guy that I've been watching very closely during this camp because I think he could be a starter the first 4 weeks, especially with Rob Ninkovich hurt now. He comes in. He has a couple big plays. He's got the strip sack that he takes back for the touchdown. The secondary looked pretty solid, too. A little iffy with Cyrus Jones. But overall, I think the defense is just as good as we had expected, and especially they'll need it for the first 4 weeks of the season without Tom Brady. I think that they can carry him all the way through. I think this is going to – I wrote a blog on Beantown, I think, earlier this week. This could be one of the top defenses of the Bill Belichick era. Obviously, you don't have names like Willie McGinnis, Rodney Harrison, Teddy Bruschi, you know the guys. But the young talent that has been homegrown over the past 4 or 5 years that is all coming into their prime this season, I think it could make something really special on the defensive side of the ball for the Patriots this year. And so far, it hasn't disappointed at all.
Austin, do you think this is to foreshadow what's to come with a pretty good defense, above-average defensive play, and okay average offensive quarterback play?
Yeah, I think, like Max said, you gotta give some props to the defense there. You got guys like Jamie Collins just killing it out there, but you can't really knock the offense just yet. You look at, Garoppolo had, 11 for 18, no touchdowns. We were talking nothing flashy, anything like that, but look who he had out on the field. No Edelman, no Amendola, no Chris Hogan, no Keyshawn Martin. He lost Malcolm Mitchell, midway through the game. Nothing was really star-studded on this offense. So I think in the next couple weeks, you can kind of see Jimmy G kind of let loose a little bit, maybe get a little flashier, I guess, as we're going to talk about. But I think, in the next coming weeks, this defense is going to carry this team. I think as Garoppolo kind of grows in the next couple of weeks, you'll start to see flashes of not greatness or anything, but actual scoring, actual driving the ball down the field. He was doing well with Martellus Bennett. I think his first 3 passes went to Bennett. And I think he's going to be a solid backup to Gronk. And once all the pieces are together, I think things are just going to mesh perfectly.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo is kind of used to driving a 90 Honda, and he just got the keys to a 2017 Mercedes. So I think we can relax a little bit. It's just the first preseason game. He didn't look good. He started 3 of 7. At least he finished strong in that second quarter. Looked pressured at times, but we have to imagine that there's going to be a significant drop-off from watching Tom Brady our whole career, our whole lives. Our whole lives as Patriots fans, we've been spoiled with Tom Brady. So there's going to be a drop-off significantly, but it is just the first preseason game. I think he'll groom. Second preseason game, I think we should start seeing a little bit more, some more reps. Let's see how he does. I don't know if maybe he has a couple more weapons at his disposal. But I think one lesson that we can take away is they need to sign Jamie Collins. He is an athletic freak, and there is no one like him in the league at his position. I know that there's a lot of great positional talent guys, but Jamie Collins, they need to lock him up after this year. I know he's going to command a large amount of money. I think he's worth every cent. But Malcolm Mitchell went down with a gruesome injury, went down to the locker room. I was talking off air with Mac before we went live. Do you think that this injury, which is reported about a 4 to 6 week recovery period, does this open up a roster spot for a guy on the bubble like like DeAndre Carter, a Chris Harper, because I think that it's fair to say that there may be four locks: Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan, Amendola, and I think it's fair to say Keyshawn Martin may be a lock. So four guys, maybe as a lock, maybe 1 to 2 positions open at the wide receiver, position. Do you think that this opens up for a guy like Nate Washington to maybe slide in there and grab that spot, Mac?
Definitely not somebody like Nate Washington, but I definitely think a guy like DeAndre Carter, who all the beat guys have always been raving about throughout training camp this year. He's only 5'8". I mean, you talk about running backs, a lot of them are short, but 5'8" for a wide receiver is tiny. So, but I definitely think it could open up a spot for a guy like that. Chris Harper, who's come, it seems like from being at practices and watching the preseason games, Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady both liked this kid a lot. I mean, he wasn't great last season, but he was really good in training camp last year. I just think that it'll probably a guy like Chris Harper, maybe DeAndre Carter. I think Nate Washington is all but gone. I think he's been horrible thus far in training camp. This past week when I was down there with the joint practice against the Saints, Tom Brady threw the best pass I've ever seen live. 50 yards out to the corner of the end zone, right in Nate Washington's hand, drops it. Just wide open, completely dropped it. He hasn't really been getting on the field. I barely saw him play last night, if he played at all. So I don't think he'll make the squad, but it does open up a spot for, an undrafted kid like DeAndre Carter or a seventh rounder Devin Lucien out of Arizona State. I think that this could probably be a good thing for Malcolm Mitchell. I know you were saying that earlier, Frank. I think it's a 4 to 6 week recovery time. They'll probably put him on the PUP to start the season, so he'll be out till mid-October. You could even throw him on injured reserve if you want, because they like to do that with their rookies a lot of time. Put him on injured reserve, redshirt him for their rookie season, and just have him come back the next year.
Austin, I think this is the hardest position to predict, just because I think they have a lot of guys that could make a squad with any of the other teams. So who do you feel that could slide into? Who's on the bubble? Who's not on the bubble? Who do you think's a lock?
I mean, I think I agree with you guys. Obvious locks. You got Edelman, Amendola, Hogan, and Martin. One guy I know you guys just absolutely love, Aaron Dobson.
Oh,
how
no.
about the opportunity? Just hear me out on this. With Mitchell gone, Aaron Dobson's going to get some reps, depending on how they play these next couple of weeks with the guys like Edelman and Amendola. They might want to get them some reps in the first half. Who knows what's going to happen there? But Aaron Dobson with Garoppolo could work out pretty well, depending on how he grows. He'll get some playing time in the next couple of weeks. I mean, we'll see what happens there. I think he has a decent shot of making it. I think Carter probably a little bit further up on the depth chart there, but I think it's between Carter and I'd say Dobson might get some reps here in the next couple of weeks.
I wanted to say Aaron Dobson, but I'm not going to buy in for a fourth straight year on Aaron Dobson.
Yeah, I think the Aaron Dobson project's failed. I think he every year comes in and has a solid camp, and then he just disappears and when we need him. That Aaron Dobson project's over. He should not make this team. I'm sorry.
But the only thing is, you look at these guys. I mean, we don't know what's going on with Edelman with like injuries. We don't know half these guys if they're fully healthy or not. So if Dobson can get proper reps, and I think he could. I mean, he could as a fifth receiver. You look at the other four guys we mentioned; those are the first four receivers on that depth chart. You're asking about a fifth or a sixth spot maybe for Dobson. I think that would be okay. I mean, you're not asking him to be a slot receiver. You're not asking him to be 1 or 2 or anything like that. Just a couple reps. I mean, see if maybe, who knows, maybe this offseason he'll be a little more reliable. So we'll see.
If it comes down to a last spot, I still think you give it to a veteran like Nate Washington, coming over from a Houston team where they run a similar system with Bill O'Brien.
Same system, basically.
Yeah, basically. I call them the Houston Patriots because they really are with all the assistants and former Patriot players. But that's a hard position. Another hard position, I think, is the tight end spot, where obviously Gronk and Bennett are locks, but you got guys like A.J. Derby, who's looked good, Clay Harbor, Bear Pasco, Bryce Williams. They have a couple guys that I think should be able to make any team. Like Clay Harbor, I'm high on a Clay Harbor. I do like Bear Pasco. Mike Williams went down for the year, so they're in need of a blocking tight end. Where do you think that spot opens up? Who do you like as a favorite this far through 1 week in the preseason, Austin?
I mean, I think Bennett looked good just blocking, like you said, looking for that blocking tight end. I mean, there'll be a solid 1-2 combo that you got Gronk and Bennett. But I think Derby looked pretty good last night. I think he looked. I mean, I'd give him the edge over a guy like Clay Harbor or anything like that. And it's kind of it's the same thing as wide receiver where you're trying to fight for that bottom kind of depth chart spot against guys like Gronk and Bennett. You're not going to get a whole lot of reps depending on how much they want to play Bennett in the preseason and get him used to the system. But I mean, my pick for that would be AJ Derby at this moment. We don't know what's going to happen in the next couple weeks. Guys drop off. Guys just shoot up out of nowhere sometimes. So we'll see what's going on. Derby's my pick right now.
I'm going to have to go with Bear Pasco on this one. He's 30 years old, but when it comes out of tight end, the Patriots aren't going to keep more than 3 guys, judging off history. And I love A.J. Derby. I liked him since they drafted him in the 7th round last year. But I just think if you're going to take Gronk, Bennett, and Derby, you got 3 guys who are primarily catching the ball. I know Derby's kind of a sidecar there, but I think you need another option as a blocking tight end. Just look back to last season when their offensive line started going to shambles. Michael Williams started a game at tackle just because he could block that well. I think you just need another blocking option in there. That's why I'm putting Bear Pasco in there, because he can't catch the ball. He's primarily a blocker, and he's been getting a lot of reps with the first teamers and Brady throughout training camp.
Yeah, I agree that, they're no shortage of blocking. They need another blocking tight end. Bennett and Gronk are great blockers, but they're primarily pass-catching tight ends. I think it comes down to Derby and Harbor. Harbor's a veteran. I think this is his 7th year in the league. He's been around the block. Derby's looking good. It comes down to those 2 guys. And in weeks 2, 3, 4 in the preseason, let's see how they look, because this is where roster spots are earned. This is why the NFLPA, this is why when they negotiate for the longer season or not, this is why the preseason matters. This is why these are probably the most important games of the season that determine where you are towards the end of the regular season, because you really do need, especially like last year when the offensive line was banged up. We had Edelman out for 7 or 8 games. This is where this matters, the bottom of the roster type guys. But that does it for this Beantown Blitz, the Swinging Things podcast. But we do have one quick announcement before we go. Austin, over to you, buddy.
All right, so we got a little exciting announcement here. We're going to be giving away a Tom Brady jersey on Twitter, I think it is. So the only kind of parameters, I guess, to enter, we're going to send out tweets on both the Swing of Things and Beantown Blitz, just saying retweet this tweet and follow. You have to follow both of our accounts, at Beantown Blitz 12 and at The Swing Sports. And if you do all those, I think it's those 3 things, you're entered into the giveaway. I believe we said next Friday we're going to draw it. So that'll open up today, and it'll go for a week. And it's just a good chance to get a Tom Brady jersey out of it and support the suspended man himself. So I think that's all. Frank, I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but
no, you summed it up great. Just be sure to retweet and follow. Also, be sure to check out our websites, Beantown Blitz and the Swing of Things. Next week, Friday, we will do a post-game wrap-up for the second preseason game against Chicago, and then we will draw the winner. So for Frank and Mac and Austin, Beantown Blitz, the Swing of Things, thanks for listening in.